What is going on, everyone? RexBebop back again, and today I'm going to just go over just my hype games for the month of October and just really kind of bringing to the table just how insane the month of October is when it comes to game releases, and just really just talking about the games I'm most excited for when it comes to this month, or aka Spooky Month. And let's just get to the big boy first. The one I've been most excited for this entire year is Insomniac Spider-Man 2, and just my god, man, just the symbiote story, that building up since the first game, the web wings, the tagging in and out between Miles and Peter. It's like, oh my god. Insomniac brings it every time a sequel is involved. Every time they do a sequel, it's like, yo, we're gonna bring the heat. I don't know what is it with y'all saying like it's the same game. I don't get it. I really do not get that little tidbit that people always like say. It's like it's the same game. I don't understand it. It's just like people just had to be little negative, I guess Nancy's in this instance, and give little nitpicks about something, but it's gonna be absolute heat. I don't understand like this at all. Just the tone that they're setting for this. They already said like it's gonna be a more darker story. And with the symbiote, you're gonna have to. You're bringing Venom into the mix. We've seen what Venom looks like. We see it even in the trailers that Miles is finally gonna settle his beef with Mr. Negative, and just the symbiote taking over Peter. We've seen that. We've seen how brutal he is with the symbiote in the gameplay whenever it takes over him, and even like Brooklyn and Queens are introduced into the mix. The sandbox is bigger. I'm most excited about that. And the web wings, even as an option, them getting around faster. It's like, yo, what are you talking about? This is the same game. It don't matter. It does not matter in this instance. It really doesn't. Like, come on, man. And you can finally turn off fall damage in this. You can turn off because that was another thing. Like, they heard of everything, even the suits and everything else about this. It's just like, y'all really are thinking of everything. Now I don't even think we've seen all the suits yet either. But yeah, when it comes to everything I've seen about Insomniac Spider-Man 2, like, this looks incredible. I really do not care. This is the one I'm most excited for out of this entire list I'm gonna bring here. But yeah, and I can't wait to see just how dark they're really gonna go with this, because they can tell dark stories if they really, really wanted to. But again, if you've been there since the first Ratchet and Clank, I remember just how evolutionary it was for like them going from Ratchet and Clank 1 to going Commando, and then the whole PS2 era of Ratchet and Clank. Like they stepped it up each time. So yeah, they always bring in when it comes to sequels, and this is going to be no different. I have absolute faith in Insomniac that this will do absolutely masterful. This is probably going to be a game of the year contender. That's how much faith I'm putting into it, because I trust this company. I trust what Insomniac always does and brings to the table each and every time. Anyway, my praising of them aside, still can't wait for this game. Really cannot wait for that symbiote combat and just web wings, just exploring New York again. And even the tag team with Peter and Miles, it just, like, they even said, like, hey, you could be swinging as Miles and you can see Peter beating up on somebody over there. Like, every time I look at more gameplay, it's just like, it feels more like a living, breathing world. And I love that. Seriously can't wait for this. Let's go to the next game before I keep saying that. Alright, next game. I cannot believe I'm even saying this where I am with current Ubisoft right now, but I'm actually excited for Assassin's Creed Mirage right now. Now, this isn't a complete return to form to how the old games were and all that, like straight up like, oh, we're going like completely like classic mode with this one. No, what they're doing is basically giving us an Assassin's story, which I have missed for God knows how long since they've been doing this daggone Witcher clones. Now, I liked Origins. I couldn't get through Odyssey. I couldn't stomach Valhalla. Like I like those two in particular, I couldn't. Origins was absolutely fine for me. But when it comes to those two, I'm like, God, y'all really went in with the whole we gotta be Witcher 3. And with Mirage, I'm like, okay, I know about Sim, and we're going to his early days of how he got into the Creed. I'm with this. And every time I see, like, how they've done with Baghdad, with the world we're gonna, like, be playing in with this, I'm like, okay, this actually looks really decent. But I see stuff like the warping assassin kills and all that. I'm like, okay, yep, this is definitely still has, like, some of Valhalla's DNA in here, but it doesn't really, like, gripe me that much to the point where it's like, I'm just gonna ignore this completely. No. But yeah, I just not every time they did something like Odyssey or Valhalla, I'm like, just no. And it's too daggone long. Now there's a constant back and forth between people who like short games and long games. I am kind of caught in the middle. If I enjoy it that much, I can stomach a long game. But Valhalla was just too much content, and Ivor just did not like click with me at all. So that was another thing. I just like, all right, if anything, Vikings should not be like this, and they don't even want to be an assassin. So it's like assassinating stuff is just like, okay, it's here, but it's very minimal. But with this, it's just like they're going kind of like heavy with it, and I'm fine with that. Again, this is Boss Sim's like origin story of how he got into the Creed in the first place, which makes sense. And Baghdad does not look too bad of a world to be in either, for them to be doing this. And I just found out that the leveling system is not how it's been for the past 3 games. No, it's you actually level up with the story, and I'm fine with that too, because the RPG aspect, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can stomach it, but I'd rather not have like enemies that have like there's a 10 level difference between me and that guy I'm trying to kill, or someone who's after me. I'd rather it not be like that. But yeah, it still has some of Valhalla's DNA in here, but I'm not too worried about that at all. Other than the combat looking questionable, right? Like, it looks like, okay, like we definitely still have Valhalla's DNA in here because it makes sense, because this was supposed to originally be a DLC for Valhalla before they said like, oh, we can kind of go our own way with this and kind of expand on this and make it better than just a DLC, and it became a full-blown game, which I'm kind of glad they did, because I'm just glad they did it. I'm kind of glad they did it like this. But the parkour looks like, okay, this looks very much better than what I've been getting for the last 2 games y'all had. The parkour has not been as good as it has been since Unity, but Baghdad looks like a very good land for the traversal system. Jesus. And I'm happy for that. So yeah, Mirage for me looks absolutely good. Looks decent. Combat looks okay. Parkour looks good. And just the fact that we're finally getting an assassin story rather than all this other nonsense that we've been getting for the past few years. And I'm not saying that, again, Origins was good. Origins is good. Just could not vibe with the whole Spartan and the Viking stuff. It's like, no. You guys really need to really split away and do something other than having the Assassin's Creed name on here just for it to sell. If you guys wanted to do that, you really could like bank on yourselves and do that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. My tangent aside, Mirage was good. Might actually pick it up next week when it finally comes out. Actually, this week as I'm recording this. So yeah. All right, let's go to the next game. Next game. I cannot believe like this is even happening. That this is even a thing. Like, if Spider-Man 2 was my top for this list, then this has to be second. Alan Wake 2. Now, I played Alan Wake 1 all the way back in the 360 days. Okay? Now, and for this to finally even be announced, for this to even be a thing, I'm like, yo, finally. Thank you, Remedy. Because Alan Wake was such a good story, right? And then I didn't even think it would finally get a continuation. I don't count the what was it? That DLC that they had on the arcade store. I can't remember the name of it right now. American Nightmare, I think. Yeah, it was American Nightmare, and that was just basically a spin-off. And then for it just to finally go silent, like Remedy had their own like thing for years, and then something like Control finally comes out. I was like, okay, and then they started to like expand their entire like Remedy universe, and I'm like, okay, where are y'all going with this? And then Alan Wake finally is like, oh yeah, I'm still here. There's a door you can go in, you can't go into in Control. And I'm like, is that what I think it is? And then the trailer, I think I think it was at the Game Awards, to see like a bearded Alan. Dude he's been through it. He's just gone through the shit. I'm like, oh, is this really happening? And now we are in pissing distance of Alan Wake 2, and I'm like, oh my god, I cannot believe this is an actual thing. I still can't. I still cannot believe this is an actual thing. I'm trying not to give too much away here, but yeah, like I cannot wait to see what Remedy have cooked up with this whole thing, because again, they are really, really good storytellers when it comes to like stuff like this, and just how insane the story for this is going to be. You can play between Alan Wake and the Officer Sage, and you have basically two stories. You can do them in any order, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm okay with this. And just to see, just every time a trailer drops, I'm like, what the hell? What? Okay. So just to, again, cannot stress enough, man. Like, this is one of those where I'm like, I'm glad. Not only am I glad it exists, I'm glad that Remedy have another chance to expand on the story and just show their chops, and just to show where they are, how far they've come with how they tell stories and everything, and just how insane this is gonna be. Just from you, I remember how crazy Control was, and they're gonna bring that kind of stuff to this, along with all their knowledge up to this point. This looks like their magnum opus to me anyway. I can only speak for myself here. This looks like their magnum opus in a nutshell. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this, regardless of how I feel about this being a digital only release right now, because reasons, they gave some reason for that. I think it's just easier to do. They don't want to do the whole like production of the disc and everything. It's a whole thing. I'm sure limited run games are gonna probably like do a limited run of a physical edition at some point. I'm really tempted to just wait for that, but I really want to play this day one. This is another one I'm like, this is day one. So yeah, can't wait for Alan Wake 2. Let's go to the next game. Okay, next game doesn't really need an introduction, but I'm going to give it one anyway, and it's the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. It basically comes with the first game, Sons of Liberty, Snake Eater, Master Book of Solid Snake, and the first Metal Gear, the NES version of Metal Gear, Snake's Revenge, videos of the graphic novel from Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, and the digital soundtrack. So you have a good mix of stuff in here. Now, Volume 2 is the one I'm like, hey, they're finally putting Metal Gear Solid 4 on other things now. It's finally escaped the jail of PlayStation 3, because if you know, like, 4 has been trapped on PlayStation 3 for years. So for that to finally get out of that, to finally get ported elsewhere, I'm like, finally, thank God. It's underrated, and it's the one that got me into the Metal Gear Solid series in the first place. So yeah, I'll be excited for Volume 2, and I hope Revengeance is a part of that collection too. But when it comes to this, I'm like, it's Metal Gear Solid 1 through 3. I'm happy to see this finally be like, okay, we have another port of this. This is the one good thing not Capcom. God, Capcom's been on a roll. No, not them. Konami has been slacking for years now. So for this, it's like, okay, you know what your cash cow is. You know this is gonna sell. Okay, fine, I'm with that. I'm going to be here for that. And I want this to sell well so y'all can bump out Volume 2 with like the 2 I need. So yeah. So yeah, can't wait to go through these again. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid Volume 1, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 through 3. Let's go. All right, next game, Ghostrunner 2. Now, every time I look at a Ghostrunner video, I'm like, Jesus, I wish I was as good as this. And every time I think about Ghostrunner, I'm like, I really need to play this. And shocker, I have not played Ghostrunner. Now, I need to play the demo for 2 so I can get an instance on how hard this is going to be. But I looked at Ghostrunner 2, I'm like, oh, I really need to play this. So this is one I was really like, I know of it, just of how insane and how precise you have to be with this. And I really have to give it an actual shot. But it looks really, really fucking cool. And I cannot, like, undersell that, like, at all. Every time I look at a Ghostrunner video, I'm like, I really wish I was that good enough to play this. Like, I do. I really need to go Ghostrunner 2 a shot, or the demo a shot, before I like really sell myself on this. But yeah, it looks really good. Even the trailer looks good, and it looks more the same as Ghostrunner, but looks improved from what I have looked at. Again, need to play the demo, but I am excited for this, and I really am going to give it a shot. So yeah, a little quick one with this one, but yeah. Alright, last one I'm going to talk about, because again, this is the ones I'm most excited for, and again, you can just look at the entire list of October and just see what I'm talking about with the amount of insanity that is this month. Last one would have to go to Hellboy Web of Wyrd, and I am very familiar with Hellboy from the Guillermo del Toro films from 2004, from early 2000s, and even the crappy games that came out. But this, I'm like, looks exactly like the comic. It is a beat 'em up roguelike. I'm like, okay. Roguelikes are usually hit or miss for me, so I'm alright with that, but this is a beat 'em up one, and I'm like, every time I look at this, I'm like, hey, this looks actually pretty good. This looks actually really, really good. And the fact that this looks like a video game comic, and I haven't seen one of these since Ultimate Spider-Man back from the early 2000s. So this looks incredible. I wish the camera was just a little bit more outwards from Hellboy when he's battling people, but you know what? It might look right beside. The combat just looks, he just needs a little bit more touched up, but it looks really good from where I'm sitting every time I look at this. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a legitimate chance when it comes out, because I feel like this looks too good to really even pass up anyway. So yeah, again, there's another short mention here, but yeah, I just really want to play it before you didn't do it. So yeah, that being said, that's pretty much my entire like list of games that I'm really the most excited for. Again, like Hellboy is a roguelike beat 'em up, so again, even the music when he's like battling, it's like, yo, I really can bump with this too. So this looks good. And again, these are all the ones that I'm most excited for. I would not mind to hear from you guys in the comments about this, so go ahead, sound off in the comments about what you guys are most excited for the insanity that is October and the amount of games that are coming out this month. Go ahead, sound off in the comments. I'm really, really curious about what you guys are most excited for too. So yeah, that being said, I'm getting out of here. RexBebop signing out. Peace. See you when I see you. I'm gonna enjoy Spooky Month to its entirety. I know I got some daggone movies in here somewhere. Anyway, take care, guys, and be safe.